Hello, welcome to Record Label Boss on this RPen Wednesday, and I hope you're having a great week and you're having a good day. Today I picked a topic that hold on, just fixing the volume here. That is popping up more and more, and that I have approached from various angles. And that touches on something that's important to musicians, not only because of what it is, but it has some implications for everybody that's in the creative industry. And it is actually a useful topic for everybody who's in the creative industry. So today the topic will be NFTs and why they suck for you. And this is for anybody who's a creative artist. Really, just like our last topic that we have, copyright free and why it sucks for you. This is pretty much the same if you're a musician, a graphical artist, a novelist, even a software maker, no matter who you are. And if you create something with your mind, if you create something with your intellect, this is going to be interesting for you. So I want to start by introducing, hey Lottie and hey Meg, I want to start by introducing what an NFT is. An NFT is what is called a non-fungible token. And the idea behind it that it is a piece of digital information that cannot be changed. Which for you as an artist doesn't really mean anything, and it is of no further consequence. It's a piece of digital property that people can buy, that people can sell, and that people can transfer. It's kind of like a paper that has a note on it, and that either is a graphic or entitles the user to something. Let's call it a little thingbat. And this little thingbat, hey easy, we're talking about NFTs for artists. And this little thingbat lives on the blockchain. Now a lot of you probably have already heard about cryptocurrency. Yes, I can write songs. If you want to send your songs to us, we have a Discord where you can do that. We also have a dedicated service for it. But you can drop your songs at countzerorecords.com/Discord. This way you don't have to type in that weird Discord invite for XB whatnot. It just puts you there. But we're a public server, so you can also search for Discord and find it. So NFTs and where they are. So they are on the blockchain, and they're usually bought with Ethereum. I think a lot of NFT owners use the Ethereum blockchain, but there's NFTs on other blockchains. And what this essentially means is you have to take your US dollars, euros, whatever it is that you have, convert it into a cryptocurrency, and then buy the NFT with that cryptocurrency. Some shops kind of like make that easier for you and allow you to buy an NFT directly with cash, and some shops don't. Two Austrians recently bought the brand LimeWire, and are now making it into a music NFT thing. And I just sent them a message some time ago and connected with them. And just some days ago, they signed a deal with Universal, so that Universal artists can now make NFTs out of their clips, media, art, etc. And a lot of artists and people that are coming up are looking toward NFT because it's hip, it's cool, it's blockchain, it's cryptocurrency, it's tokens. Who doesn't want to have that? And they're thinking about getting into it and selling it possibly to their customers. And very early in the NFT game, I talked to some artists that now have a large NFT presence. I actually talked to them on Clubhouse about it, and they said, yeah, we're going to do it. So I have a little bit of insider information of about a year ago, before a lot of these projects went live, what goes into them, how it works, and how it really works and what it really means for you. Because usually you as the artist or you as the consumer, you are at the receiving end of advertisement. You get told that it's great, that it's wonderful, that you should buy it, but that is not necessarily the industry information. That's the information for the end consumer. The end consumer, of course, always gets told on TikTok that it's great and they should buy it and they should trust in it and they should totally do it. And so I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm going to tell you what major artists did in order to become successful in NFTs. Major artists that I actually was in the room when they were announcing how they were going to do it. Some of them I talked to, some of them I didn't, I just listened. And then I'm going to tell you who is going to be successful with NFTs. And I'm going to tell you what you should do, or what you could do, or what's probably good for you, depending on how you are, depending on who you are. So, the guys that got really big in the NFT game very early on, and that have made sales of NFTs for hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even millions of dollars, and this is not talked a lot about, usually spent a significant amount of money in it. I was in the room when Blau was announcing that he was going to set up a team, and he was going to take a couple $100,000, at the very least 300,000, but at the usual most. Galabarazza says, love this topic of you. Always learn something, listen to your stream. Dude, that is so nice of you. I'm gonna kiss you. Sometimes I need motivation too. Anywhere from, I think that the number that was floated was anywhere from 200 to 600,000, because he didn't want to say, but it was a significant number. And at the receiving end, what we got to see was that he made about $2 million selling NFTs. So for him, it turned out pretty good. He put about 700,000 in, and then he got 2 million back. And when I talked to other artists, it was along the same lines. People that were successful in NFT had two things that qualified them. Number one, they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, mostly in their team, in their branding, and in their marketing. Not so much into the technology, because technology is actually pretty simple. Blockchain is pretty simple. People tell you otherwise, but it isn't. It's if you're really into technology, blockchain is not a difficult technology. So what made it specific for all of these people was they were rich before, they were famous, they had a huge following, they were able to purchase a professional team, technicians, marketers, they were able to get partnerships with significant brands and platforms because they were famous, so they had everything going for them, and then they still put hundreds of thousands of dollars into that endeavor in order to rally up support for their NFTs. And I would say that anybody who was an artist and who invested in the space at that time made their money back and then some, if they qualified for all of the things that I just said. At the very same time, we had people. I'm just noticing I don't have any music playing in the background. Oh my god, that is so disappointing. Might as well turn it off. It's playing just for me. It's again not working. Okay, so at the very same time, I'm sorry guys. At the very same time, we had people who were mid-tier artists, who were lesser known artists, who did the same. They invested as much as they could. They got the best team they could. They got the best promotion that they could. They got everything in kind of like their like in at their level. That's what the word I was looking for. And what happened was that they completely failed, and all of their investment essentially turned into dust because nobody wanted to buy their NFTs. And then a lot of people were very upset and hurt, and they said, well, I thought that NFTs are going to enable me to sell my music, to sell my rights, to democratize music, etc. But the way that it turned out was that NFTs actually only served the richest, the most well-known people, the biggest artists, and small to medium artists didn't have anything from it. And at that time, we didn't know why. And looking back on myself, I have to say I was fucking stupid. So we started investigating why, and even, other artists like Steve Aoki and others invested, and everybody was like, yeah, it's working great for me. And then some other people invested from, kind of like a mid-tier or low tier. And what we kept seeing was that the smaller the artist was, the less it worked for them. And at that time, the narrative was still, if you make NFTs, you're gonna make money, because people love music and they want to participate in your music and they want to buy some rights, etc. Things like that. People were creative. They were selling. You could hear the music. How the fuck? I'm gonna turn it back on. Oh god, that is so weird. I have no words. Can you hear music? I don't know. I'm just gonna turn it on. Aha! I might know where the problem might lie, but I can't get into it now. Probably audio device problem. It's back on now. Okay. I'm gonna keep it on for the people that can hear it, and for the people that can't hear it, I'm very sorry. Okay, guys, so let's continue. So what we kept seeing was that it worked really well for people who were really famous and put in a lot of money. And we were wondering, how does this new technology help small artists? How does this new technology help independent artists? How does this new technology, help the independent scene, labels, etc., monetize their works? Because this is what crypto was supposed to be. This is what NFT was supposed to be. And what we found out is that what we had missed is that the quality of NFTs sold, or the success of NFTs sold, directly corresponded to the level of fame and marketing that people had. What we found out through data was that the price of an NFT that you were able to sell depended completely and only on marketing and on how famous you were. So we looked into that, and we found, and we asked people, and the reason why people bought NFTs was not because they wanted to help the arts, foster an artist, support a musician, invest in music. None of that. What they wanted to do was, and that was the number one motivation, get in early at a game where they can buy something from a famous person or from a well-known brand that would then become worth a lot more later. So the choice to buy NFTs or music-based NFTs was entirely based on the desire to make money. And people concluded that they couldn't make money from independent artists. They couldn't make money from lesser known artists, from projects that didn't have a lot of marketing. So they purchased only from the biggest names. This is why you're seeing NBA NFTs, NFL NFTs, Universal NFTs, Blau NFTs, and so many NFTs coming up, and the NFT market being the exact opposite of what it was supposed to be. It hasn't helped a single independent artist. It hasn't helped a single small artist. It hasn't helped a single medium-sized artist. It has only made the richest more rich. Because when you're talking about NBA, NFL, Blau, you're talking about people that are already millionaires. I haven't seen anybody make money from music NFTs that wasn't already a millionaire, because they were able to, put up the money for advertisement, etc. And everybody else, and now we come to the very dangerous part, lost money minting and promoting their stuff. So you have to understand that when you make NFTs, you have to pay a certain fee to mint them. Now, of course, there's websites where it's, only once the guy buys it, they get minted, and only, you can do it on a cheaper chain. There's all of these options. But at the end of the day, if you didn't put a lot of money in, and you put, for example, $5,000 in, all those $5,000 were gone. So a lot of artists in the small and medium tier put the last money they had, and these guys aren't rich. I'm talking about people who play for door, who are busking at the free time. I'm talking about people who barely make rent. And this is most of the musicians. The people that you see that, have the Billboard charts, etc., that's like 0.001% of the people. They don't really fucking matter, because it's like 100 people that are there. So your typical busker invested $500, $600, $700, $2,000, $3,000, and in the end, none of them ever made anything back, unless their family, their friends, and their people that actually knew them supported them. But for your best friend to support you, for your mother to support you, NFTs are actually horrible, because you have to pay all these fees. So you have a huge amount of fees. You have transaction fees. You have to convert money into Ethereum. You pay a fee for that. You have to send Ethereum from one wallet to another. You have to pay for that. You have to mint the NFT. You have to pay for that. You have to list the NFT. You have to pay for that. You have to advertise the NFT. You have to pay for that. So all of a sudden they found themselves in a situation where they were paying left and right and out of their ass. And at the end of the day, their mother, or it wasn't the mother, it was their friend who was tech savvy, bought it. And from the $100 that they invested in the NFT, they got 20 back. And so even if they were successful in selling them, they didn't actually make money. So the very few people that didn't lose money didn't make any. And the newsletters, the websites, the newspapers, and a lot of the publications that I read daily were full of the success stories, because those usually follow the major labels and the major artists that are on these labels. And they're like, Steve Aoki project invests in LimeWire, Blau sells whatnot for $2 million. And the industry was like ecstatic that they had found a way to get more money from fans that they didn't have before, but that at the same time was all but unavailable to their competition in the independent market. Because if you don't have the support of a big team to promote your shit, and if you don't have a big name to back it up, ain't nobody buying your shit. So you're gonna be stuck with the bill, and this is what happened with a lot of people. We did a few test balloons, and what we found out was that the people that would be interested in buying NFTs would be the same people that are interested in buying our artists' merchandise. These were the same people who would buy a t-shirt, who would buy a hat, who would buy an album or some kind of really cool, I don't know, CD set or vinyl set or something like that. Because they knew the artist, they liked the artist. Hey there, buddy. Hey, Maniac, how you doing? And these people would buy the NFTs, but the costs for this NFT shit were incredibly much higher than anything that we would do on merchandise, etc. If you buy merchandise from us, we have very reasonable prices, extremely high quality items that are shipped worldwide within days, and our artists get 50% of it. That's of the profit. That's a nice chunk, and that works really, really well. And what NFT did for us was almost nobody could buy it. It was very difficult. The fees were outrageous. And the same people that invested $100 in an NFT, we ended up getting $20 for it. And then these people had the NFT and said, what we're going to do with it now? Because, and here comes the next part, people always said NFTs are going to increase in value. NFTs are increasing in value like shit. NFTs are pinned to the underlying currency, and that's the cryptocurrency, any cryptocurrency, and that's driven by Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's currently going to shit. So the value of your NFT is going to shit with the cryptocurrency market as a whole. So everybody who bought a Bored Ape for $300 now is the proud owner of a Bored Ape that is worth $150,000 if you can find somebody to buy it. If you can find somebody to buy it. So you lost half your money if you can find somebody to buy it. And our purchasers, which are housewives, young kids, college professors, various people, do not want to speculate with shit. They want to invest in something and have something. They want to buy, and this is what we found, they would much rather, hold on, where's that? This is a Champion t-shirt that has Count Zero Records embossed on it. This shirt costs, I don't know how much it is at our store, but I have them for me, for Count Zero Records, for everything. Those shirts are heavy. They're awesome. They fucking never break because the stuff is actually embossed, is stitched on it. And they're color true. You can wash them for years and you can wear them. Are you going to pay $40-50 for it? Yep. With worldwide delivery. Yep. But you're going to have that forever. And we make all of our stuff. People are like, why do your shirts cost $50? And I said, order one, try it, and if you then think they're too expensive, send it back. Nobody's ever sent anything back. They're like, holy shit, this is not the usual merch that I get from people. This is a whole lot better. This is not this thin t-shirt that you wash once and it's broken. This is actually super high quality. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what we want, you to be happy with the product. And these people that are buying these products then were looking into NFT and they were like, wow, so I'm going to put $100 in there tomorrow. It's going to be worth 50. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have an item that does absolutely nothing for me other than to be a digital IOU, a little piece of paper that says, congratulations, you spent $100 on something that you can do absolutely jack nothing with. And the market for that kind of people among the fans of independent, medium, and small artists is very small, because most of our fans are not millionaires. They're not, on the one hand side, a big artist who has millions for his project, and on the other hand side, a trust fund kid who pays $300,000 so he can get into a party with a bunch of cool people because he has so much money laying around he doesn't know what to fucking do with it. We have normal people who are artists and normal people who are following them. Normal to normal. Our business is normal to normal. You know what I mean? And neither the normal artists nor the normal fans can and want to afford all the fees and all the problems that come with NFTs. They would much rather buy a hat, because you can wear a hat, you can have a hat, it's your hat, it's cool. You can have a nice shirt, it's cool, and it's not a problem at all. And Harry Black, hey, welcome Harry, welcome back Harry, becoming a regular. Harry says speculative investments are always dangerous. Yeah, because when you invest in an NFT, you have two risks. You have the risk of currency, because the underlying currency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., can lose value, and this will make your NFT worth less, number one. And you have the second risk of loss of value of the NFT itself, that people don't want to buy it. So you have a double risk of failure. Of course, you have a double risk of success. But at that time, that was a time when Bitcoin was 60,000 and when people were paying massive amounts of money for NFTs. If you're looking at any NFT generated ever in this market, they're all at a loss now. There are no NFTs that year to date or since mint have gained in value unless they were able to find somebody who bought it for a significantly higher amount. And this is what we economists call the GFT. That's the greater fool theory. And the greater fool theory is an economic theory that says everything is always good business as long as you just find a greater fool to buy it from you. So you could go to the forest and pick a berry, and if you were able to sell that berry for $1 million to somebody, he would be the greater fool, and you would have $1 million. If he would then go on to take that berry and to sell it to somebody for $2 million, that person would be the greater fool. And, the second guy would have made $1 million and sold the berry, and he gave you $1. So as long as greater fool theory applies and you always find somebody to stick with the price of it, everything is always a good business. And then we were thinking about how is it that so many of these NFTs seem to be purchased in progressively higher amounts. So you would see a release of an NFT from an obscure source. Let's just say obscure source, and it would then be bought for X, and then it would be bought for 100. It would be bought for 1,000. It would be bought for 3,000. It bought for 6,000. It'd be bought for 7,000, and it would change hands so many times, and so many people and so many wallets would buy these NFTs, even in the very beginning, that it was crazy. We then looked at the NFTs that bigger people like Blau and other people made, and they were also fairly traded a good amount of times. And then we started looking into these trades, and we started digging a little bit more, and what we found is that I would say around 80% of all NFT trades are blank trades, which means that the person that issues the NFT is also the person buying it, but just with another wallet. And a wallet is kind of like a personality in the crypto sphere. So you can have different wallets. These wallets are largely anonymous. Actually, they're not, but they have different numbers. They don't have your name attached. So if I were to make an NFT, I could make it, and then Avio would sell it to Availo for 1,000, and then Availo would sell it to Avilio for 3,000, and I would just keep selling those NFTs to myself in different wallets. And what people would see that is that the value of the NFT is ever increasing. But the value of the NFT isn't increasing at all. It's just me selling that NFT again and again to myself, and I'm waiting for that moment where one sucker bites. And you will always see a sucker bite in an NFT price up finding phase when immediately after the sucker bite, all this back and forth trading stops. Say you did that, and at 50,000, somebody who is not you buys the NFT. What you do is, of course, you immediately stop buying the NFT back. Now that guy that thought that your NFT was raising in price and people are buying it and buying it and buying it, and he thought he was going to sell it in a few days for more than 50 grand, now has your NFT that's essentially worthless because all it ever did was being traded by various wallets that you own yourself. So you traded it back and forth between yourself until the sucker bit, and now you got the 50 grand from him, and you're keeping the money, and he can keep the worthless NFT, and you move on to the next NFT. And many times we would see this happening, and then the value of the NFT would collapse because that person would then try to sell it for 50 grand, because many times people would acquire these NFTs for as a speculative asset, and they didn't actually want to be with 50 grand in an NFT for Boneless Monkey, so they're trying to sell it. And they can't sell it for more than 50K, and eventually they're like, fuck, I need my money back. So they're selling for 49, they're selling for 48, they're selling for 40. And they're getting more and more desperate, and at the end of the day, they're selling it for 1,000, and still nobody wants to buy it. And then they get stuck with the NFT, or at the very, very bottom, somebody buys it. And at the end of the day, these people are burnt. And Harry says, I've heard that digital currencies will be taken over by the big banks because they don't want the competition. Probably. Pyramid marketing comes to mind. It was a big thing in the 90s in the UK. Only the people at the top of the pyramid make money. Yeah, that's the same in NFT and crypto. One party in Bitcoin, one party, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, holds 45% of all Bitcoin. And no more than 10 people hold 80% of all Bitcoin. And if you probably make the calculation, there isn't a whole lot more than 100 people who hold 80% of all the cryptocurrency in all of the world. It's an incredible concentration of wealth in the hands of a very few. And just the GDPC by themselves have, since it's an unregulated market, the power to change the course and manipulate the course as they see fit. So that's very, very dangerous and very, very bad. It's actually the antithesis of democratic or decentralized. It's the most centralized currency. It's the least democratic currency. It's the most exploited and the most corrupt currency, and the currency with the highest amount of fraudulent transactions and theft. There is no good statistic that you could have of any cryptocurrency that would make you want to invest it. If I take the statistics of Bitcoin and pretend it's dollars, and then ask a crypto guy, would you invest in this currency, without telling him which currency it is, they would say you're fucking insane. Nobody in their right mind would ever invest in a currency like that. But you know, they all thought they were going to get rich. So let's go back to you as an artist, and thinking how is that? So part of the strategy of big companies that invest $600,000 is that if somebody doesn't buy their NFT at the launch price, the launch price could be $400,000, is that they have enough money on the side that they will buy the NFT from themselves, and they will get some trades going. So they'll buy the NFT for $450, then they'll buy it for $470, then they'll buy it for $480, whatnot. And they're still looking for a sucker to bite. It's always the same. If you ever want to do NFTs, you need to have enough money. to basically buy NFTs in a circle jerk from yourself, so that you can show to the world that the value of your NFTs is increasing, and everybody's doing that because it's illegal, because again, it's an unregulated market. You can do whatever you want. So unless you know how to manipulate the value of NFTs, unless you know how to manipulate courses in cryptocurrency, I suggest you not get into it, because you're going to be the sucker who's going to pay for all of it. What does that mean for artists? Does that mean that you should turn your art into an NFT and sell it? That depends. If you have a following that is very tech, has a high tech affinity, and that loves cryptocurrency, and that loves NFTs, and that resides on kind of like an NFT server or something, it will make sense for you to do it. But it's the people that are your fans that ultimately decide what marketing, what merchandising makes sense for you, because only your fans are going to buy your stuff, because you're not famous, you're not rich, you're not a big brand, and nobody thinks that investing in you is something that in 50 years is going to be worth, 100 times that. So the whole investment aspect aside for you just leaves the music aspect, and most musicians just don't have a following that has enough affinity for NFTs to buy it. And the interest that we see for NFTs is entirely centered around the biggest artists. You could really not get anybody to sell an NFT for any indie artist outside of them buying it from themselves and pretending that somebody bought it. And we see this a lot because people get desperate. They put like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 into their project and nobody buys it, and so they buy it from themselves, which again, other than the transaction cost, doesn't cost them anything. And then they can at least say, somebody bought it. A lot of people are very ashamed. But just like in the crypto sphere, in NFTs, it's the top 10% that are making all the money, and everybody else is losing money. And the top 10% in NFT are very, very big brands and very, very rich people, even more than crypto. So you're probably better off trading crypto than doing NFTs. And I, in no way am I implying you should trade crypto, because that's dumb as shit to do that if you don't know what you're doing. And you always have to think that also the value of your crypto depends on one company, GDPC. You can look it up. When they sell, your crypto will be worth half of it the next day. And when they buy your crypto, your NFT will be worth twice the next day. And they are, of course, entirely using their market power of owning 45% of every single Bitcoin on the planet for the benefit of independent artists, right? They're not doing it to make money and to ruin you. They're here to help you. That's right. So, if you are an artist that makes easily over 100,000 a year, you can think about it. If you're interested, you can come talk with me. I have a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about it. I myself have a pretty good understanding. I can hook you up with connections and I can do projects with you. But I can tell you, if you as an artist are not making more than $100,000 a year, you should steer the fuck clear of it. Always look at very, very intently look at the costs of it. Because people are going to say, yeah, you can mint for free, you can do this. People are going to fucking bait you into it. In the next year or two, you will see a lot of NFT platforms being created, trying to sucker you into minting NFTs on their platform. And their business model is not to sell your NFT. Their business model is to charge you to make your NFT and to put your NFT up for sale. And then maybe there's a percentage, but they don't really care about that. They're making money by having you be on their platform, by you paying the fees, by you paying, the subscription model, whatever it is they have. At a certain point, you always find out where the paywall is, and this is how they're making money. Think about how many plays you can get on a YouTube video if you were to take that money and invest it into something boring as YouTube ads. I know the numbers. I'm not going to say how much we pay for it. We have a very good rate because people love our videos, and the more people like your videos, the cheaper it is for you to advertise, because more people will see it for the same amount of money. But $100 is a very reasonable amount of money to promote your video on YouTube. Tens of thousands of people will see that video, probably hundreds of thousands of people. And then compare that to you going out on a limb and putting down a few thousand without ever knowing what you're going to get back. If you have a few $1,000s, come to me. I'll charge you 20% and I'll make you an advertisement campaign, and you will not fucking regret it. And this is what you should do with your money if you're a small or medium artist. You should invest in yourself. Don't invest in any kind of like fucking scammy advertisement shit. That is not going to work. You need people to know you. You need people to listen to your music, to understand you, to become your fans. You need to get out there and actually build your brand. And once you have an established brand and lots of money, then NFTs are going to be a thing for you that you can look into, where you can take a lot of money from a bunch of suckers, and in return you're going to give them a screenshot of you shitting. Because essentially all NFTs are completely worthless. A lot of people have said, yeah, but you can tie rights to an NFT. Yes, you can. You know how? By a contract that is not on the blockchain. The latest and greatest in blockchain technology has found out that the biggest value they can offer you is to offer you something that's not on the blockchain. Think of that. NFTs are worthless unless there's a contract outside of the blockchain that says you get part of the copyright, you get part of the revenue, you get part of the profit, and all of these are outside of the blockchain. What do you need an expensive NFT for to make a contract that is outside of the blockchain? Nothing. you don't need it. And Chadich is asking, could you have a music career without touring? Yes, you can. I know a bunch of people who have, but it is, and I'm not gonna lie, difficult, because you're either gonna have to live from your royalties, from your sync, from your projects, from secondary work, or from other source that doesn't, or marketing, which is a big part, which is like hats and shirts, etc. But the 75% of your income is touring. 75% is touring. Anywhere from 50 to 75% of your income is touring. So forfeiting that, you're gonna have to have a very good idea of what you want to do. And people that successfully do that are, for example, Mike DeRoche and Mestina, who are Karma's Tea, who are on our label. And what they do is they run a very successful music school in New York, where they train the next generation of pop stars. Both of them are very gifted musicians. They're great teachers. People love them. So they're not touring much. They play in and around New York, and they have their music school, which completely complements them making music, which means they have a studio to record in. And it's something that they love and enjoy. But you're going to have to find something to replace that touring income, because royalties alone are not going to sustain you. And that situation is not going to change over the next 5 to 7 years. So you're going to have to develop another game. Now I just talked about Mike. Now he's here. Oh man, who can I say has another thing? I have another artist, Madrid, and Matthew is a very diligent bookkeeper. He shuffles his artistic career in playing music and being a very decent slash high level bookkeeper, and he's happy with that because he likes his job, and he's a great musician. And who am I to tell him that he shouldn't do bookkeeping rather than touring? Because bookkeeping gives him the amount of money that he needs to make his music, and he's like, I love making music, I love doing these things, I love being with my family, so I'm gonna do a job that's totally okay with me. Why the fuck would I tour around the world? I don't want to tour around the world. He's ready to play wherever I say, hey Matt, you want to play there? He's never said no to anything, but a lot of people just don't want to, that what people used to do, like the whole rock band thing. Let's get in a van and drive around to sleazy bars and pay for $20, and at the end of a year you have nothing in your money other than experience and fun, which could be great. It could be a wonderful experience. But not everybody wants that. Simple as that. Some people want it. And then I say, totally go for it. You're going to have an awesome time. And some people say, I have a young girl at home. I have a kid. Yeah, bars, no. You know what I mean? And Shadich says, that's proper, insightful, cool, getting a look behind the curtain. You're very welcome. Certainly what you should do is you should improve your merchandise game. Merchandise is the second biggest earner. Outside of a music school, music teaching, a music job, being a reviewer for somebody or something. But if you were to ask me and you say, I don't want to tour, get a job that is in and around music, be good with merchandise, and do your normal stuff, and then you can forfeit touring. But you're probably going to have something that's in and around music. It could be artist management. You could give the experience that you had to other people. There's I know a lot of people who are musicians, but at the same time, they are service providers in the music industry. So, for example, Marko Tomasovic, who is a huge songwriter in Croatia, and I know him personally, 100% solid dude. Dozens of chart hits, 800 produced songs in his life. I don't know, many accolades. He makes his music. He's a very famous person, but he also has like a project company where if an artist approaches them, they will do the songwriting, do the lyrics, do the production, do the music video, do the recording. They'll completely handhold the artist, and to where at the very end there's a professional international release and a great music video. And a lot of people are willing to pay decent money for that, to get it all done by professionals at what I think is a very affordable rate, So I know a lot of musicians who are both. They're kind of like artists slash service providers for something. And at the very end of the days, I am the same guy. I'm an artist. I have a bunch of songs out as a VO. You can hear them in the background. But I also offer my management advice and my company, my label, my publisher, my distributor, that I all created because I was an artist and I saw that artists needed these kinds of services. And then people ask me, hey, can I have these kinds of services? And I said, well, I'm just an artist. I'm making music for myself, dude. You need to, you need to fuck off. And at the end I thought, yeah, why not? So you'll find that a lot of musicians or a lot of artists, not even musicians, artists, do something in and around art that is still what they love, but they help somebody else who in return compensates them for it. And I think that's a very fair and good agreement. And Mike DeRoche says, Avio always has good advice. No, I mean, I just go by what I see. The if I were to tell people or young artists or newer starting artists, yeah, you're gonna start and you're gonna completely sustain yourself from music because Spotify pays so handsomely. I mean, that is just a load of bull. But the point is that some people work at music stores, because if you're an artist, say you're a guitar player and you can play the guitar really good, and you just go into a music store, I don't know, grab a guitar and play, and they're going to be super annoyed because everybody does that. But you apply for a job there selling guitars, for example. You could sell the guitars that you love to other musicians. You could counsel them, buy this, don't buy this is too big, this is too small, and at the same time make money from it. There's a lot of ways that you can, augment the income from your music career, and you're probably going to have to, unless you're rich, like, I don't know, Lady Gaga or Ed Sheeran or all the other trust fund kids that now make up Billboard, because it seems to me now everybody has to come from a background where they have 100 million in their pocket, or the industry doesn't even look at them. But of course it's the people that can do everything without a job because they have money. So don't be afraid to pick up another job. Don't be afraid to do something else. I'm gonna drink a sip now because I've been talking so much, and then we're gonna return to the NFT. And I'm gonna tell you where the value is. Okay, so when we talk in a corporate environment about something that has a certain value, say 100, and it's sold for 400, then the difference between the actual value and the value that it was sold for is what we call either the strategic value or the brand value. So Kanye West sells these shoes, Yeezys, whatnot, and he sells them for a few hundred or whatnot. The production cost of Yeezys is about $15, and they're sold for, let's say, $1,500. So the difference between $1,500 and $15 is the brand value, which means that Kanye West has a huge brand value. People will buy his items if the brand is associated with the item because they really, really love that artist, and they will pay a huge premium to get an item from that artist. And this is very true for NFTs. NFTs consist entirely of brand value, since they themselves don't have any usage value or any recuperable value itself. You cannot wear the NFT, you cannot really do anything with the NFT. The NFT consists entirely of strategic or brand value. So when you're asking yourself, why can I not sell an NFT? Why am I getting such low prices? Is because you're not a brand. You don't have brand value. So what I'm saying by take the money and put it in YouTube ads is you need to create your brand value first. When people don't know you, they're not going to pay you a premium for tennis shoes. People are going to come to you if you sell the same shoes that Kanye West is selling. And you sell them for $15. You know what they're going to tell you? Wow, what the fuck? You're selling a ripoff. $15 for tennis shoes? This can't be real. It's probably some cheap shit from China, which his is, of course, also. They're going to argue price and quality with you, even though you're selling the same shoe for 100th of the price. Because they don't believe in the brand, they don't believe in the strategic value of you, they don't believe in you. And this is at the core of what an NFT is. An NFT is a worthless digital item that consists entirely of brand value. And if you have no brand value, then NFTs are going to be worthless for you because you won't be able to sell them at any kind of price, because people simply don't believe you that your NFT is worth X or Y or Z. And if you want to be big as an artist, or if you're looking into a music career, knowing how to build your brand, and I know now I sound like all the idiot marketing morons. Knowing how to build your brand is super important. Also understand that all these marketing morons that are on TikTok and WhatsApp and are trying to convince you to buy their courses, what they do is they take free course materials, usually from universities and other sources, and kind of like dumb them down for normal people and then sell it as their knowledge. You know, they're all copying free books. So if you're interested in marketing, if you're interested in building brand value, there's a million free books and courses you can get. You never have to pay a dime to learn marketing. Absolutely not. Quite frankly, if you pay for it, you're probably not getting a good deal, because the people that charge for it are usually not good. Why am I saying this? Because when you have to hustle information that you can get for free to unsuspecting suckers and overcharge them, you're probably not having a great career. The people that are the makers of these courses, the runners of these courses, of these programs, are people that have pretty much failed in everything else they did, and they now need to sucker people into buying overpriced courses for bullshit that these people could get for free. If that is your career, you have failed. So when you buy marketing courses from these people, you're buying from people that have failed in their career, that most likely don't have an education in economy, most likely have never gotten anything done in their life, and they're now suckering people into buying stuff that they could get for free. They're literally selling you water, air, and sand. You could probably call them the sand sellers, you know? There are people that tell you that the sand that they have is so great that you really should pay a lot of money for, but you could just go to the beach and pick it up for free. So that's why I'm saying don't buy it. Somebody offers you a course, you know, $10,000 marketing exclusivity course. Fuck that. Go to Amazon, buy one of the 10 best marketing books, or shit, buy them all and read them, and you'll be much better than the guys that are doing this course selling, because they're usually really shitty at anything. They're good at selling courses to suckers. That's why they're successful in that job. They're good snake oil salesmen. So don't buy from a snake oil salesman. All right, that was a 1 hour bout, and Oribio says he's taking notes. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to ask. When I started streaming about 2 years ago, I had so many people ask me for my credentials. That doesn't happen anymore, so I like to believe that people either became more gullible or they know me or something. I don't know. But it's really nice. Of course, if you have great music and if you want to join our community of artists, you could go to countzerorecords.com/Discord. We have a Discord server there, you know. You can join us, and you know, we're signing people, but it's difficult because the music industry is currently very difficult. So this wraps up our analysis of NFTs for musicians. If you have any questions regarding NFTs, please let me hear them. Otherwise, I'm going to offer you my last thoughts on them. So I recently contacted the new owners of LimeWire. They're not the creators of LimeWire. They just bought the name because LimeWire was in legal trouble. So 2 Austrian dudes bought the legal rights to the name LimeWire, and they're resurrecting it as an NFT platform now. There's a lot of hype around it. They're putting a lot of money into it. They got a lot of venture capital funding for it. And I want to go as the last point into why so many of these platforms are successful. So the platforms that are usually funded by VC capital start out with millions of dollars. It doesn't matter which platform they are. When you have millions of dollars and they're mostly spending them on marketing, that allows you to bring in a lot of people, to make a lot of advertisement, and to get a lot of that buzz going that you're gonna need to sell stuff. But this puts you as an artist in a very dangerous predicament, and it's the same thing that happened with Spotify, and I think it's the same thing that's gonna happen with these platforms. So imagine you're that platform, and thank you very much, Harry. Imagine you're that platform and you've just taken $20 million from 3 investors. These 3 investors are going to do everything to get that money back or more. So you know that you're going to have to spend all that money on advertisement to get people to your platform. And at this point, you still don't have a business model. All you have is a bunch of guys who gave you a bunch of money, you spend it on advertisement, and now you have lots of people on your platform. And then, who is going to pay those $20 million back? Because you as a company aren't going to be it, because you spent everything on marketing. Right. It's going to be the fans and the artists, because in an NFT platform, there's essentially the platform operator and his investors, the fans, and the artists. So the platform operator and the investors have put in 20 million, and all they want is to get their money back. And they can get that money back from fans or artists. Who are they gonna get it back from? And the answer is, of course, both. So what's going to happen is that they are going to have to tap into the flow of money between you and your fans. Because when money flows from the fan to you, the only way for the platform to make money is to tap into that monetary flow. Of course, they can charge artists, and they can say, okay, every song that you upload and that you make an NFT is $300. So if you upload an album, it's $3,000. And then some artists might do it, some artists might not. But eventually, sooner rather than later, people are going to find out, I uploaded the album, made NFTs from it, paid $3,000 for it, got nothing back. And people will be like, yeah, this platform is shit. So you want to keep costs for artists low in the beginning, also because you want to attract artists to the platform. So who can be the one paying? Fans. Because the platform is trying to keep the prices low so that artists come. Investors have already paid, so the only group that can pay all this is fans. Now, why would you as an artist care? Because if you put your works on a platform that then makes sure that a whole lot of gullible fans are being separated from their money while not receiving anything, while taking the money from the fans and not giving it to you, but to who? To the investors, creates a situation to where your fans are being taken advantage of to the benefit of investors. And you as an artist will be left holding the bill that you're currently holding on Spotify. And that bill says you are getting jack shit. Because there's investors that invested in the platform that want their $20 million back first. And afterwards, they want to increase shareholder value. They want to get that money as well. So what's going to happen is exactly what happens on Spotify right now. Artists aren't getting paid at all. And fans are being taken advantage as best as they possibly can to the benefit of investors. Whenever there's a platform that invests heavily on borrowed money in marketing to get people there, it creates an imbalance in that company to where they need to take advantage of somebody, because in the very short term you cannot recuperate the amount of money that they usually need to pay back for that. And that usually leads to predatory business models, to business models like they are now in Spotify. Their business model is easy. Don't pay artists and take all the money from fans and give it to investors. And for you, from an artist perspective, it then does not make sense to participate in these platforms, because their goals are not aligned with you. Their goal is never to pay you or to make you rich. They're not agents on your behalf like we are. We are an agent on your behalf. We get a percentage of what you make as a success fee. These platforms make more money the less you get. So by funneling all the money from fans to investors, they're actually making money. So never do business with somebody who benefits from your misery. Never do business with somebody whose business model is to take advantage of you, whose strategic goals don't align with yours, who, it's the ham and egg story. When you're making ham and eggs, don't be the pig. That's the point. And a Godly Puma says, hopefully Bandcamp doesn't follow suit now that Epic bought them. I don't know. It's very difficult to see where artist services are going, but what I'm seeing is a plight on the creative industry, that a lot of these platforms are popping up and they all have the same business model. Take the money from fans and give it to investors at the same time, while pretending to be on the artist's side, and just to tell them that they're doing this all for exposure. And of course they're not getting exposure. You get fucking exposure when you take the $100 and you put it into YouTube ads for your fucking music video. That's how you get exposure. You can pay for advertisement yourself. So my advice is to not do any of these bullshit platform game at all that so many people are saying, but rather to take the money and put it in advertisement for yourself. That's what they are doing. Just think, why is the first thing that every platform does to take money from investors and to advertise? Obviously, that platform believes that that is how you make money. But they're trying to tell you the best way for you to spend your money is to go on their platform and to do something. But they don't believe that themselves, because otherwise they would not spend the entire money for advertisement. And if you look at the annual reports of most of these platforms, their major expense is advertisement. Sometimes they cover it up with research and development. Of course, there's personnel costs, but everybody has that. These are extremely heavy advertisement-driven business models. So they're telling you to not do what they do. They advertise, but you need to be on their platform. You know what I mean? It's a very... Always look at companies and see if what they're trying to sell you is what they're doing themselves. Are they successful just entirely working off their own platform? Or are they successful because they spent an absurd amount of money in advertisement and then try to defraud somebody out of their crap, you know? So... this is, by the way, the same way that you would deal with very interesting marketing agencies. Whenever I work with somebody, I always ask them if they work based on success or effort. And freelancers and agencies, they all hate that. And in fact, there's a bunch of courses that say if somebody asks you that question, immediately walk away from that client. And now I'm saying, because that client knows what they're doing. See, every marketing agency will try to sell you a best effort campaign. What does that mean? That means that they will try as good as they can, and they guarantee absolutely no outcome. So if you don't sell a single MP3 or a single hat, and you've given them 30 grand, they will just shake their shoulders and say, well, we tried. So whenever you're working with somebody, never buy effort services. Don't buy somebody's services if they're selling you an effort. I'm going to do my best effort to do this. I'm going to do my best effort to do that. Unless they're paid in percentage from your success. See, we are, as every record label, and I'm going to be fair and open here, we're a best effort record label. We never promise anything to any artist because it doesn't work, because we can't do it, because artists are different, because there's just a million reasons. But we also don't require fixed payment. We say we're doing best effort services, but we're only getting paid when you make money, even if we take half of it. So usually what agencies are trying to do with you is to sell you best effort services at a fixed price. So they have all the security in the world. They will make that money. They can give you the shittiest campaign results possible, and they will walk away with a hefty check. So when you buy best effort services, they can be percentage based only. And when they are based on results, they can be anything. Very few people will work for you for results. You will find very few people that are be able to do that or want to do that. And you will find very few people that want to work for you best effort, but based on percentage, on results. And there you can measure who you should work with. Let's look at your typical NFT platform. You pay them a subscription, you pay them a minting fee, you pay them a transaction fee, and you pay them a percentage. And they guarantee you absolutely no outcome whatsoever. So they're doing best effort. They're not only taking a fixed amount of money, they're also taking percentage. So in the rating of how good is a service provider, that will be the worst. People that don't guarantee an outcome, but simultaneously want to have fixed income and additional percentage income. Okay, got a question here. Godly Puma, Spotify will boost your band if you give them back the garbage royalties they pay you. Yes, it's the cloud version of payola and it's garbage. Spotify is bad for small artists, better to self-publish. Yes, I hate Spotify, and I've said this many times. I feel I have about 100 record label bosses where I talk about all the ways that Spotify is defrauding artists intentionally. And doing everything they can, everything in their power to keep artists poor and to make money into their pockets and to make sure that Daniel Ek walks home with his $5 billion and his CEO buddy walks home with his $3 billion and everybody else who are now billionaires while they pay 15,000 artists every year minimum wage. Yes, out of the 5.5 million releasing artists on Spotify, only 15,000 make minimum wage. Everybody else does not make minimum wage. If that was an industry, and I talked about that on Monday, if that was bricklayers, there would be protests. If 99.95% of all the people of one profession do not make minimum wage despite working full time, there's something very wrong. Alrighty, so I feel like I've now also given a side chinks to that Spotify topic there. So yeah. Why is YouTube good? Because you spend YouTube like $5 every day. Just go in there, spend $5 every day. And as you spend, you get performance data. And as you get performance data, you can decide if you want to keep advertising with them. So they're kind of like a marketing agency that gives you KPIs daily. YouTube is actually the most, and Google, I should say Google Alphabet, is the most transparent marketing agency on the planet. They literally give you daily reports on how your campaign is going, everything to who has seen it, where they're from, who has clicked it, which text they like the best, which picture they like the best, which video they like the best, like full data for everything on a daily basis. They will essentially never cheat you. You can put in $1 every day and have $365 for the 365 days that the year has, and you will get full performance reporting. Now, granted, they don't guarantee you any results, but they guarantee you full transparency. And that is actually the second best thing to results, the ability to have KPIs, key performance indicators, on a daily basis. Most advertisement agencies, marketing agencies, etc., and also all this NFT shit, these people will either give you no data at all, or they will give you data once the campaign is over, but they will never give you tangible data that would allow you to implicate that they are doing a bad job. YouTube will give you the data, it's all automatic. If your ad sucks, the next day you'll see it on the stats. You know, you paid a lot of money and nobody looked at it. You know, you'll see it at the very least. So you'll be able to counteract that. So the best marketing agency you can employ, the best thing you can do as a small and medium artist is to learn how to advertise on Google, on YouTube, Google Ads, mostly YouTube, I would say, for music videos, etc. Spotify usually has the Spotify advertising is very low result. We used to do a lot of Facebook, which was okay, but now Facebook is kind of like the rapey uncle that nobody wants to be around anymore, and I'm not sure they're gonna recover from that. Plus, I really don't want to advertise on Facebook anymore because I don't even know how many ways you can be weird, but they're weird in all ways. Plus, they have a really difficult attitude towards record labels. Because, for example, Facebook denied us monetization forever. They said that our channel is low quality and regularly reposts material. And I've written to them a million times that we are the fucking releasing label of that music. That is literally our music. You don't get an answer back, you know? I mean, YouTube, Google, you can once you're a partner, you can get somebody on the chat, but Facebook is a flaming ball of crap. So, you know, you can still do effective Facebook marketing, but especially when you're trying to sell penis enlargements or like these fake like capsules that you can eat and then your muscles will grow. Anything that's fake, that's rapey, that's incestuous, that's weird, that's around conspiracy theories. Because if you want to specifically aim at the entirely cuckoo population of the world, Facebook is the place to go. Every nutcase in the world is on Facebook. So, you know, depending on what product you're selling, it might be good for you or it might not be good for you. So, and just everybody is on YouTube. You know, YouTube is like a universal service of video. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, and I'm coming to something of a conclusion here, rather than participating in a lot of schemes that all aim towards getting your money, learn how to advertise yourself. Learn how to brand yourself. Learn how to put ads on Google. Learn how to have an email list. All of these things can be done. And please, for the love of God, read first. Inform yourself first. I see so many artists, and I'm not going to say any names now. I see so many artists that put so much effort into marketing, but they have so little idea of how to really do it that they're doing the wrong things all the time, and they're totally barking down the wrong tree, and nothing is working for them, and they think they're just going to put more effort into it, and just, doing the things that don't work over and over isn't smart, it's insanity. So at a certain point when certain things are not working, you need to think. And I understand that for a lot of artists, musical and otherwise, having to become like a mini marketing person isn't fun, isn't entertaining, it's something that they don't want to. But you have to understand that at the very beginning of your career, no one is going to do that for you. By the time you get signed to a label, you already need to have some kind of clout, some kind of quality, and then they're going to take a certain amount from you to do it also. So no matter how you twist and turn it, you can get through life without being a self-promoting person. But all of the artists that I have seen be successful are very good in self-promoting and do it all the time. And those people that generally don't self-promote ever, or incorrectly self-promote, or don't ask us, or even, worse, work against our advice, there's a lot of people that do things that I specifically advise them not to, and they're still doing it, and they're failing, and they're asking me, why am I failing? I'm like, because you're doing things I've always said to not do. One of these things that I want to go to, because we have a little bit of time, and if you're interested, is unprofessional appearance. There's a lot of people who think that sharing your private life with your fans is going to make them like you more. And that is sadly not true. As it is at the very beginning, your fans are mostly interested in your artistic work. If you're a good-looking woman, maybe they're interested in your face because you look good. It's definitely a huge factor. But they're interested in you as an artist first. So what you should start to give them as a professional is professional content, which means you're not sending them pictures from where you're sitting on the bath on the toilet and pooping. You're not sending them pictures of your family members. You're not sending them pictures that were made with a very shitty phone camera. You're not sending them pictures that are not framed, lit, or have the correct resolution. And there's a whole guidebook that we put out to our artists on how to correctly make pictures, on how to correctly take footage. And people, for the most part, ignore it. They will put out pictures that will, what we think, actively worsen their image and portray them as unprofessional and as somewhat of a joke. And there's a lot of people who are extremely into believing that the material they're putting out is really good and people like it, when it's not. And therein lies a thing that, is always true for any profession. If you choose not to believe the experts, why have them? If you're going to do the opposite of what your lawyer tells you, why the fuck are you paying a lawyer for? If you're going to do the opposite of what your tax consultant tells you, what your marketing guy tells you, why the fuck do you have them? Just cancel them, save the money, and do whatever the fuck it is that you want. And a lot of artists end up in that space to where they, kind of like cancel out everybody, and then they keep doing what they want. And usually it's not successful. I've had many conversations, very contested conversations, where people were extremely upset with me for doing marketing the way that I do marketing, because they could not imagine that what I do works and what they do doesn't. And what I usually tell them is it's very simple. Before you were with our label, you were not successful, and that is precisely the reason why you came to the label. So coming on here and telling me you're going to continue to do the same things that made you unsuccessful in the beginning is stupid. You're here because you have somebody who's going to give you advice on how to do it better. If you then choose to not do it, then that's up to you. So there's another component. Once you read the books, once you talk to an expert, actually take the advice and actually implement the advice. And that's a personal thing that you as an artist can do. It's free. It doesn't cost you any money. You can do it any day you want to do it. Any second of any day you can do it. But it requires that you understand that there's some things where you might not be the best person to do it. There might be somebody who went to university for that and then worked in that field for 30 years. There might be somebody who has absolutely no education in that field and has never worked in there. So sure, you can argue with the expert, but it's not going to be for your betterment. And I have to say, if you are with an organization that helps you in any way, you hired them, you joined them, you're with an artist collective, you're with a label, you hired a marketer, do take their advice, but do evaluate them. And if what they're doing works out better than it worked out for you by yourself, then they're doing something better than you. If things are going worse than when you were doing it, then you're probably justified of not working with them anymore and going your own way. But to kind of like stop them from doing what they're doing, and afterwards telling them that, you know, it doesn't really work because they did something wrong. No, they did what you wanted. So take the advice. And it's the same thing when you're doing music, by the way. A lot of people send me music, and most people are very upset when I give them advice on how to do it. By the way, if you want to join us on the Discord, do so at countzerorecords.com/Discord. And if you want to have a Discord bot that plays our label's music for free on your Discord server, go to countzerorecords.com/DMB. That's Discord Music Bot. And you can invite the Discord Music Bot. We still have about 10 slots free before it's full again at the 250. We're still working with Discord to get that upgraded. So that's really good. If you want to support the show, you can go to recordlabelboss.com/sub or recordlabelboss.com/tip and support the show and me so I can keep doing this, because just like you, I'm an artist who also has a job, so that he can, you know, pay his life and pay his label and everything. It's always great when people support us, and it's always nice when people join us on the Discord, because then they can chat with us even when we're not on the show. Now I'm gonna take another sip. I do tend to have you know, people say you shouldn't talk for more than 20 minutes and then kind of like say something fun or do something fun, etc. But I find that very difficult. I'm a man that has a lot of focus. A lot of people find that very annoying. But when I'm focused on something, I kind of like want to get through it, and then I want to get done with it, and then I want to try something new, you know? Whereas a lot of people are a little bit different in that regard. They would start something, then stop it. Keep it the same. Start it up again, work on it a little bit, keep it the same, and then do that like a million times. To me, it's like I have one thought, one train of thought that's usually a rather longer one, and then I want to finish it, and then I want to do something else, you know? And it's the same way that I work in marketing. I want to fully execute one strategy all the way through, and then evaluate if it works or if it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to quit doing it. And a lot of people just like to stay with what they have or what they like. I have the 250 ohm ones. I always have with higher impedance, because higher impedance generally has a better amplification curve. And yeah, I like them. I use them, I would say, daily. I had the KRK KNS 8500 before that. Still have them upstairs. Very good for mixing. And I got the closed ones also, the 770s. But those are just for like club sound testing. And generally, I mean, I get so many questions about these fucking headphones. I should be selling them. If you want to buy these headphones, go to avio.com/headphone. There's no such URL. Just saying, you know, I should be a headphone seller. Because people see me with these headphones and are like, do you like the headphones, you know? They never ask about a microphone because you can't see which one it is, you know? I see so many people using the Shure microphones, you know, the speech microphones, and I never do that. All my microphones are Rode NT ones because you can use them for actual recording, whereas the Shure ones are just mostly for speech, you know. And Rode NT one has the lowest noise floor of in that price range by far. You know, very superior noise floor. Anyway, tech stuff. All right, so if you're interested in my music, I go by the artist name of Avio. That's AVIIIO, and you can listen to my music and check it out. If you want to have a look at our record label, it's CountZeroRecords.com. And if you have any questions, or if you are using Discord, we are actually concentrating most of our efforts from Facebook and other sources to Discord, because we believe that Meta doesn't really have a future, or it's not necessarily a future we want to be a part of. And I think that Discord is still a place where you can own your community, you can shape your community, and you can connect directly with your community, whereas Facebook, etc., makes it all but impossible to actually communicate with your community. And I find that to be very sad, you know. On Discord, we have the capability to do a stage to where people can listen to, you know, either some of our artists performing or us talking about something. You can send people messages. You can have radio music playing. All kinds of things that you can do there. And I do understand that Discord isn't your classical social media app that, you know, people would swipe over on. But if you want to build a community in and around your music, it's really important to connect with your fans. And I feel that ever since I found out many years ago that Instagram had stopped showing your followers your posts, I was like, whoosh, mind equals blown. Because what's the reason for a musician to be on Instagram then? You post something, and as you get more followers, fewer and fewer people see your posts. You know? That's essentially their way of trying to muscle you into buying advertisement with them. But if you're on a platform that actively disconnects you from your fans, you should probably reconsider what you're doing. Because I'm not in the business of disconnecting from my fans. It's just so freaking weird. It is. All right, so these days I've been developing our Discord bot. So if you're interested in Discord, here's the link and here's the bot. Oh, and I've also been working on a different project that you're gonna see soon. I don't know if I'm gonna do a new thing on Monday or Wednesday or something like that. But my streams are definitely going to be changing a little bit. There's going to be some more coming and maybe something else coming. I thought about it a while. I'm pretty happy with it now. I have to say that this talk format is going fairly well so far. Music Industry Monday, Music Industry Wednesday. If you have any suggestions for me, for the show, for my streams, you're very welcome to go on Discord and give your advice or your feedback there. But I'm disallowed from saying what I'm currently doing. It's like sitting right next to me here, and yeah, next week you're probably gonna see something new. Something new and unexpected. Isn't that always what we want, right? All right, super cool. Okay, guys, if you have any questions regarding the entire NFT or crypto space, you're welcome to ask them. I'm gonna be on and try to answer your questions in that regard, or as we talked about today, about marketing, about brand value, about strategic value, about how to do your first steps as an independent or smaller artist. I'll be happy to answer them, and then we're gonna check out for today, and then I'll be back, I guess, on Monday. Because now I'm always doing Monday and Wednesday at 8 Central European time, and I always have the Ukrainian flag behind me. By the way, if you want to donate for Ukraine, which is totally cool, go to CountZeroRecords.com, and in the top left-hand corner of our webpage is a link, Donate to Ukraine, which leads you to the Ukraine government's official link tree. So there's a bunch of links in there from actual Ukrainian organizations that you can donate to, because there's a lot of people doing like fraudulent stuff with Ukraine, and I think that's really bad. And there's a question from LA Transplant. What would you recommend someone just getting into music production? How do you make the most of your time? If you want to be a music producer, get Ableton and do that in a package with one of the Native Instruments keyboards. It's that tiny one, because they also give you some software, and the package costs $100. You get a keyboard, you get some Native Instruments software, and you get a basic license of Ableton. And if you learn all that, it's going to take you 2 years, because there's that much in that package. Because Ableton Basic version is actually really, really powerful. And the Native Instruments keyboard, it's just a fucking keyboard. But you get some of their software. They have really good instruments. So for $100, you can make songs that are ready to be chart hits. And from then on, you take it. But if you want to produce music, learn a DAW that is a standard DAW for the industry. Do not fuck around with like Fruity Loops and some things that, grandpas like Hans Zimmer use. Because Hans Zimmer is like the only person who still uses like Cakewalk. Cubase, sorry. They now they don't call it Cakewalk anymore. They call it Cubase now. Still, And I used Cubase, like 20 years ago. He just never switched, But it works for him. It's fine. But nowadays, if you're doing modern music, there's no way around Ableton, because in contrary to Logic on Mac and Fruity Loops, Ableton has some features that none of the other software has, and it's mostly the warping feature. So Ableton can pitch warp and speed warp, and no other program has that, which means that you're able to transpose a sample into any pitch at any speed, without it sounding weird, within reason. But this will allow you to match beats that are a different. For example, a 128 beat can easily be warped to 120 in Ableton, which gives you a much bigger sample range. You can change the speed of a vocal. You can change the pitch of a vocal, and it has the world's best warping capabilities. So once you say, okay, warp me this sample in a different way, Ableton can do that. I recently had a thing with Mike D, who produced in Warping is Better on Ableton. I was going to go over there and say just that. But, you know, I like Logic too. Logic is better for making melodies and stuff. But Warping is the best on Ableton, you know. So I would say I would maybe attach a little bit of a thing to that. Use Ableton if you're making modern music, like electronic, EDM, techno, hip-hop, that kind of stuff. You're definitely better off. If you're doing more classical music to where you're mostly, I don't know, recording something and you never need to change pitch and you never need to change speed, then I like Logic a lot. Then, of course, there's Pro Tools, which a lot of recording engineers use. So if you're mostly recording other people, then you're going to use Pro Tools. If you're old, you're going to use Cubase. But another thing I wanted to touch on for LA here is that Ableton is actually called Ableton Live, and it has a second mode which nobody else has, and it's performance mode. So in Ableton, you can perform your song live and kind of like make a remix of it bit by bit and control the individual elements of the song and do a live performance with the song. It's hard to understand, but just think of it as kind of like DJing your song or performing it live. Just think that, I don't know, how can you explain that? Imagine your song would consist of 10 different buttons and you could push them at any time and they would always fit no matter what you would push. So Ableton Live mode, Ableton's performance mode, is something that no other program has. So Ableton has some very specific things that nobody else has, and if you need those specific things, it's definitely the best software for you. If you don't need these specific things, then then maybe something else would be better, you know. And Mike says also, yeah, from what I've seen, Ableton is better for electronic music, yeah. So, but learning a DAW is hands down the number one best thing you can do, because you can completely finalize a production just on your computer with a DAW, mastering and all. Nothing done, just completely ready to release, ready to hit that export the WAV file, export the MP3, if you know how to work a DAW. Because there isn't a difference anymore between what guys are using in professional studios like ours or Mike's and what you use at home on your laptop, PC, whatnot. It's the same. It's literally the same program. And the only thing that we have that you don't have is we have outboard equipment, which means we have sound cards that have 24 exits and like 2 of them, so that we can put 48 channels out of the computer, put it into the mixer, and then do mixing in there, do effects in there, and then kind of like send it back to the computer if that's what we want to do. Um, that's called mixing outside of the box. So, but a lot of people mix everything in the box, meaning they remain in the computer environment, and it's perfectly fine. There isn't anything that a professional person in a studio can do better than you with Ableton. When they have a better version of Ableton, they have more features that people generally don't even need because they're so overloaded with features in the very beginning. So that's not like a huge advantage. And then I have a DSP plugin system, which means that my plugins run on a little computer that's separate from the computer. And I guess you know which system it is because there's really only two that are popular. One of them is Universal Audio, and that's what I have, and the other one is Wave. And they both have DSP hardware. So a lot of professional studios have DSP hardware. And breakout and return gear. Again, you don't need any of that. The big plus and upside if you have a DSP is a digital signal processor, is that your computer usually has limited CPU power, and when you have all of your plugins running on a different little device, that frees up the processing power of your computer and makes it easier and more smoother to use, you know. But again, are we talking about I have to have this? Or are we talking about, wow, that's very neat to work with? You know what I mean? What you need are good headphones. And I do not recommend working with headphones because you're going to ruin your ears. So you probably should get some good monitor boxes. Because people tend to not invest in monitors. And then anything they mix sounds really shitty. Because their speakers just distort music in a way that is insane, you know. VST all the way, that's right, Dirty Chris. So I would invest in Ableton with a keyboard, that's $100. And then, ouch, you know, getting some good monitor speakers, which is like, I don't know, 300 per speaker. So it's like, wow, that's the first thing that hurts in your heart, you know. But it's really important to hear the music as it actually is created, as it is saved on your track. And since you can't wear headphones all the fucking time, you're gonna go nuts. But the cheapest way is to do it with headphones. To get the KRK KNS 8500s, best, straightest headphones I know for mixing. These are okay too, but they're too bassy. So for mixing, they're not good. So for $200, you could probably do everything that you needed to do in order to make a track that can be a #1 hit, and the rest is up to you. So it's incredible to me that, you know, me as a boy who started with a Commodore 64 making music, and I was just dreaming of the capabilities that people had in the studio, and nowadays you can literally spend $200. I would buy used studio monitors, by the way. You can spend $200 and you can have all the equipment that you need to make professional music. And everything else that the industry tells you that you need to have this because this and this artist has it, just fucking forget about it. It's a joke. There is no magic button that you can push and you're gonna make good music. That just doesn't work like that. Is there any outboard gear that there is not a plugin just as good? That's right. That's why I'm working with the UA satellite, you know, because software plugins now are really, really good. They can do 99.5% of everything that hardware can do. Hardware has its advantages. I use hardware for some stuff, but it's mostly so I don't have to finick around with stuff, because hardware is just nice. You turn it on and it works. You don't have to load it, and you have knobs that you can turn. This is something you do when you have a studio. When you're working with shit every day, then things become different, because then $100 is not an investment if you work with it every day. $3,000 is not an investment if you work with it for the next 10 years. But for you at home, VSTs, and plugins are just fine. What was that? Just stopped. Oh, look at that, it crashed. My sound playing thingy crashed. I'd never had that happen. That is weird. See, and this is also what doesn't happen with hardware, This happens with plugins. But when I started, I did everything with plugins. I got free plugin synthesizers because there's so many people that give away free plugins, free VST synthesizers, good ones. You can get so much free stuff as plugins for your DAW. It's insane. I spent months just getting free stuff, and it's really crazy. And Dirty Chris says trackers still blow me away with how reliable they are compared to other DAWs. Yeah, well, I started on software trackers. I think the first one was Sound Tracker on Amiga, and then it was Noise Tracker, Fast Tracker, all kinds of trackers. Those were, of course, software trackers. And now there's a lot of hardware that's interesting. But my tip for you as a new musician is to not invest in hardware, but to learn your DAW first, to invest in your Ableton and in your PC, your laptop, whatnot. Because your main instrument is going to be your computer, no matter if it's a Mac or a PC or whatnot. But that is really where it's at. If that computer is good, you're going to have a lot more fun using it, and you're going to be a lot more successful using it if that computer is good. If your computer sucks and everything is laggy and you click something and it takes 5 minutes to do something, you're going to get, annoyed, etc. So if you have a little bit of money, upgrade your DAW and buy some shit for your computer. That's really it. And don't buy too many plugins, because people get carried away buying plugins, and then they find out that they don't really do anything for them. And then people buy the wrong plugins, I see so many people that are reluctant to buy Auto-Tune. But Auto-Tune is such a studio staple, but people are like, what the fuck? It's like $200, $300, $400, and I'd rather buy this plugin for $20 and this plugin for $20 and this plugin for $20. So if you're thinking about buying plugins, really think of what you really need, and buy the ones that are going to make a huge difference in your production. So the first plugins that are going to make a huge difference in your production, when you're doing it with vocals, are going to be Auto-Tune and Melodyne. Everybody uses Auto-Tune and Melodyne. Both of them are, as far as I think, very, very necessary. They have a slightly different workflow. You can go with either one. But if you do not have them, then you should have them if you work with vocals. So rather than buying 10 crappy plugins, buy one really good one and learn to use it properly. Because I see a lot of people buy like all kinds of shit, and they don't even take the time to understand how these plugins work. And then when they find out what the plugin actually does, they're like really disappointed because the plugin doesn't do anything. So In terms of plugin, get the ones that really make a difference. Really good plugin synths like Silent One and others are wonderful. A good plugin synth, and if it costs $300, it costs $300. It's okay if it's a good one, but you're gonna have to research stuff. But again, if you had told me 30 years ago that you can do all these things and you can spend $200 to $300 and be on your merry fucking way, I would have been like, what? That is a future I want to live in. You know what I mean? So it's never been so easy and so cheap to get into making music, to make compelling music. And all it takes is your skill and your ability to work with your DAW. And that's what it comes down to. As long as you need a producer, you're probably not going to get anywhere as an artist. Because for the first years, unless you have a friend that does it for you, you're not going to be able to pay a producer. Even your shittiest producer that asks, like, I don't know, a very small amount per hour, you're not going to be able to afford forever, in a capacity that you need to make an album. I've seen quite a few people kind of like going broke making their albums, and like putting everything they had into a professional studio, professional producer. People that have no money at all. I'm talking about people that have no money for food, that saved $30,000 to give to a studio to record and make stuff for them. And they were very disappointed when I told them to immediately stop doing this, that only some of those are signed on our label, some didn't. And a guy was saying to me, what should I do? I said, stop immediately doing that. You're wasting money. You need to sit on your ass, learn the DAW yourself, make your music yourself, and then take the $30,000 you're giving to the studio and invest it in Google Ads. You're going to fucking blow up. I said, man, with $30,000, I can do a lot of stuff for you. You're going to be, That's because in indie music, that's a lot of money, and that studio time is replaceable by you learning how to do it. But the advertisement is not replaceable because that's not you doing it. That's paying somebody to run ads for you. So as a musician, you should really, really learn to do the things that you can do yourself, to actually do them yourself, so that you have money to buy the things that you cannot do yourself. All right, that's it. That's it for today. Thank you for being our record label boss. Join me on our Discord server at countzerorecords.com/Discord. My name is Avio. Check out my music. Thanks all for being here on LA Transplant, Dirty Chris, JD, Godly Puma, and Waniac was on there. Yeah, and Galabanza was on there. Bunch of people on Reddit today. Thank you so much. And Mike D, Harry, Meg, and Lottie, and everybody else that's on the other channels. Yeah, dude. You have any question, you're welcome. If you want to join us on Discord, I'm always there. Doesn't mean I'm always answering, but usually I'll answer within a few hours. I give my opinion. Nobody pays me. I don't know. I literally have no sponsors. I'm not, and no investors or anything, so I have the luxury of being able to say what the fuck I want. And that is always very good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being our record label boss. I'm coming back on Monday at 2000 CT. And then, of course, next Wednesday as well. I wish you all a great and wonderful weekend. Have some wonderful creative time. And I see you soon on Monday. And if you want, on our Discord server. Love you all.
Червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася.